Hi, I'm Brien Lundin, and I'm at the Metals Investor Forum here in Toronto, right before the big PDAC mining conference. I had the pleasure of talking with Scott Close of EMX Royalty. And Scott, in our presentations today, I kind of positioned EMX as, a lot of people look at a lot of very successful investors in the junior mining sector recommend prospect generators, and they recommend royalty companies. EMX is, I don't know if it's absolutely unique, but it's certainly what all of the prospect generators would love to be. And really, I guess what all the royalty companies would love to be, in that you've got a foot in both rooms, and you're developing your own royalty projects, and you're one of the best companies, if not the best company, in both of those business models. What I think has gotten lost to a lot of investors out there is you have so much going on. That how do you distill that into a simple story? I know that's a challenge for you all the time. And what are the real catalysts coming up that are going to move the needle for EMX? And there really are some. I mean, you've still got a huge bankroll there. But can you tell us from your position inside the company what you're most excited about over, say, the next year, what EMX is going to be doing to build shareholder value?
I think what I'm most excited about right now is the pending cash flow that we have built into EMX.
Oh yeah, it's about to finally come due.
Yeah, it is. So we recently acquired an interest in the Rawhide Gold and Silver Mine in Nevada. And that's structured as an LLC, so now we're a member of the LLC. Yeah. And the construct...
And it's private then.
Yeah, that's private.
Right.
So, and the construct of the LLC dictates that 50% of the taxable income coming out of the mine is returned to the members of the LLC. Mm-hmm. That would be us. Plus they have a serial history of producing special dividends. Okay. So we will be the benefactors of that also.
Can you quantify that at all? Do you have any rough ideas?
We think that we will amortize out our initial investment of about $3.5 million in about 3 years. Okay. And then after that, it appears that the cash flow coming out of that will increase, and it will just turn into a giant ATM for us.
Okay.
And then moving on to Turkey, we have a 4% uncapped, unbuyable royalty on the Balya lead, zinc, silver property in the old Balya mining district in western Turkey. That property is now under the control of İsan Mining, a privately held Turkish concern with a lot of operating mines, and they'll be advancing that property into a high state of production in probably a year and a half or so.
And you bought that long ago for just a song, right?
Right. We bought that, I believe it was back in 2006 for about $17,000.
Wow.
We think that's good value.
Yeah, no kidding. And then you have another big one coming down the line.
Yeah,
right?
in Serbia. Yeah. So we have a 0.5% royalty on the Timok or Kukuru Peki deposit in Serbia that is being advanced right now by Zijin Mining out of China. They're actually sinking 2 vertical shafts into the deposit right now, one on sort of each side of the deposit. So they really have their foot on the gas to put this thing into production. Now, you have to understand the scale of this deposit. This is
talk us a bit about that.
Yeah, it's one of the largest ongoing copper gold development projects in the world. This is going to be the next Grasberg or the next Bingham Canyon. They'll be mining this thing for over 100 years.
Now, what are we looking at for production time frame on that?
They say they're going to be in production in late 2021.
Okay, so right around the corner relatively, and that should be very significant revenues, I would think.
Yes, definitely. And it's important to understand that there's 2 zones there. There's the high grade zone closer to the surface, although that's still fairly deep. And then there's the big porphyry system under that is has some significant scale to it. And we had that royalty covers both of those zones. And we have had one of the big investment banks that you'd be familiar with take a look at the resource there as we understand it at this point. and run through the numbers on it, and they think life of mine, this will provide us between $500 million and $1 billion in revenue. So this is very significant.
No kidding. And you also have a lot of money in the bank right now. You've been deploying that, and you've done, which seems to me to be a flurry of acquisitions and purchases over the last couple months or so.
That's right.
And what are most significant among those for our audience?
We just announced that we had purchased a royalty from Palladium One on a project that they have, and that's a very handsome project that they have. So we're very excited about that. That's a 2% royalty. The grades on that project are great, and it's palladium, platinum, gold, nickel, and copper. So that's you got to love that.
Pressing all the buttons right
oh
there.
Oh boy, yeah.
You have EMX again has so many projects on the go, and that almost gets kind of confusing for investors. And you know, again, what moves the needle for it. But to simplify things, your cash value right now represents a significant portion of your market cap for a company that is actually has what everybody wants, royalties that are going to be producing increasing cash flow. Roughly speaking, what is that cash value and the enterprise value?
Well, as of September 30th, which was the end of our third quarter, which is the last quarter that we reported, we had $74 million Canadian in the treasury, with about $4 million Canadian in securities.
Yeah.
And right now, in terms of Canadian dollars, we have a $175 million market cap. So, you know, that gives us about a
40%
million
or so.
Yeah, about $1 million or $100 million
net enterprise value.
Enterprise value, yes, thank you.
Yeah, for everything that you've got going on. What I like about the company is that you've got that cash sitting there.
Yeah.
And if anybody were to hand that kind of money to any company in the market out here to spend wisely, it's hard to argue that EMX is not one of the best companies out there to spend that money. I mean, it's never, it's grown so much since it's been on our recommended list, and it's got so much more to go. That money, in other words, is going to be deployed in a very responsible and intelligent and value-creating fashion.
Yes, and it's funny because now that we have this very large treasury, we've taken a lot of heat from a number of people. Why aren't we deploying this? What are you doing with the money? You're just sitting on it. It's like, well, you know, we're really looking for accretive, value-driven acquisitions, and we're not going to spend that money just to buy cash flow if it's not accretive and it doesn't make absolute sense toward advancing the goals of the company and our shareholders.
Well, what I'm excited about for our readers in Gold Newsletter is we watch this company grow over the years, and sure, it's made a lot of money for them so far, but you're getting to this stage now where your royalties are really going to start coming in, and we're going to see tremendous cash flow. And the revaluation, I mean, royalty companies command such a premium in the market, so when you start getting that kind of cash flow, the market's going to value you much more highly. So a great few months ahead, a great year ahead for EMX Royalty. Scott, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
My pleasure.